Hello everyone, this is a recording of an older essay, and please note that at the end of this there is a feature I used to include on all my newsletters, which is a list of material to read, listen to, watch, things related to the commons, walking, walkability, and commodification and other subjects. I don't usually include that list anymore, and I am not going to include it in the audio recording, but if you go to the post, you will be able to access it. There's always lots of interesting stuff there. I just don't like overwhelming people. Okay, this post is a slight revision of one I originally published in 2021, and it's about why people leave. And since I live in Montana, I often get that question because I not only live in a fairly conservative state, but a very slightly liberal-leaning town in a very right-wing county, and it's fascinating to me how often I get that question, why don't you leave? And I'm often not sure how to answer, because I simply wouldn't consider it. This is, not unless I absolutely had to. This is my home. There's lots of people who can't leave, or who have been here, whose ancestors have been here for tens of thousands of years, longer than mine have. And I don't think that we should be shoved out of our homes. Anybody, anywhere, for any reason. And it's an interesting question to me. What makes us choose to leave versus what makes us, what forces us to leave. So this is called How Bad Does It Have to Get Before You Leave? And the photo at the top is of night skiing with my kids a few years ago. Friends sometimes ask me how long I'll stick it out in Montana. It's natural, I suppose, to wonder why, if the politics of a place is oppressive or repressive, one doesn't just move. And yet, when you feel that you belong to a place, not that it belongs to you, but that you belong to it, picking up and leaving isn't a light notion. As a born-and-raised-Montanan who's the daughter of, on the one hand, a born-and-raised-Montanan, and on the other, of an emigre and exile who was not allowed to see his family or return to his home country for nearly 20 years, the questions of home and belonging are almost always with me. When I read or watch news stories of refugees, whether from Syria or Honduras or elsewhere, all I can think of is how bad it has to get to force a person to pick up sticks and leave home. My own Russian Jewish grandparents were refugees in the Ural Mountains during the siege of Leningrad. It wasn't a choice they made willingly, and it's one that many people didn't survive. How bad would it have to get for me, for you, to turn your back on your home and know you might never be able to return? How many people actually choose to leave their homelands? What imagined countries do they carry in their hearts? I think that these subjects of home and belonging are trickling around the world, finding outlets in places I didn't expect to see them. I keep coming across conversations of community and the drawbacks of fierce individualism, and the damage that absolutist private property rights cause. I bump into these concepts in random places, and just in the last few weeks, an essay of mine about private property versus the health of the commons, published 5 years ago, went from around 6,000 Facebook shares, where it had stuck since it came out, to nearly 70,000. It's clearly hitting some kind of nerve, though where exactly, I don't know. One of the recent readers of that essay shared a music video that they'd helped to make to advocate for preservation of a waterway in India, teaching me the concept of paramboki. In their comment on the essay, they explained, the paramboki is a medieval Tamil agrarian revenue term that denotes land reserved for shared communal uses. Such lands cannot be traded or built upon and yield no revenue to the crown or the government. The term and its legal essence have survived well into present times. But the quality and health of the Paramboki Commons began its decline when the property-making agenda of the British colonial masters collided with the notion of the commons. Perhaps because it was strictly not property that could be traded, it began to be seen as worthless. Today, the Paramboki has degraded culturally to refer to worthless persons or places. One of the lyrics of the music video they shared sticks with me. After Enor got its power plant, acres of ash, but river scant. The whole ensemble reminds me of a short Aeon video I shared a few months back about sand mining in Cambodia for Singapore's expansion that ruins island fisheries. Sometimes we don't even need to flee home. Sometimes, maybe most often, someone steals it from underfoot. I listened to an interview with Stephen Jenkinson recently where he talked about being a citizen of the soil. It came up partly in a discussion on individual rights, the eternal pull between freedom from and freedom to, and dovetailed strangely on my watching of Adam Curtis's documentary, Can't Get You Out of My Head. There is something freeing about knowing that you can't have everything exactly as you wish, that you owe something to the communities around you. I know Montana has a lot of narrow-minded people, and especially narrow-minded politicians. So does everywhere else. But it remains just about the most beautiful place I have ever been. It's my home, and I don't see why I should let the Christian nationalists and uber-wealthy and resource extractors have all of this life richness to themselves. Besides which, most people can't afford to just leave, and the rivers and trees and wildlife certainly can't pick up and relocate somewhere else. I can't imagine living far from the rivers that have saved me so often. If I think of myself as a citizen of the watersheds I rely on, the dynamics of this place and its struggles look very different. It's worth fighting for, even if I lose. The roots will remain. Please take care of yourselves.